Namaste, Jai Shivai. We are going to study Ishopanishad. So as you all know, there are so many Upanishads, right? So many, like 108 Upanishads are there. And out of those 108 Upanishads, 11 are considered as main Upanishads. And out of those 11, the first Upanishad is Ishopanishad. So just see if you can find any book in Hindi or English, whichever language you can read. Upanishads were translated in almost all the languages of the world, all the known languages in the world. So you may be able to find a translation that is in your language if you would like to read it. So you can buy and purchase that book, and we will go on reading and studying here the Ishopanishad, and I'll try to cover as much as possible. And because you are here reading the translation yourself, if you have any questions related to the chapters that I am teaching, the topics that I am teaching, if you have any questions, you can just feel free to ask them in YouTube comments, or you can ask them through the email as well. You can write to beingshivafoundation@yahoo.com, and I'll try to answer all those questions. Alright? So, Upanishad. What is meant by Upanishad? Upa means that which is closer to Paramatma or Brahma, or let's call him Supreme Being, okay, for everybody's understanding. Easy understanding, and not to so much of, trying to struggle with the terminology. Throughout these Ishopanishad videos, I will refer to Brahma or Paramatma as Supreme Being, okay. So this Upanishad, so the word Upa, when you dissect the word Upanishad, it becomes three different words, and three different words are Upa, Ni and Shad. So Upa means that which is closer to the Supreme Being. Ni means definitely, conclusively, it is so. And Shad means, Shad is a dhatu in Sanskrit, an element in Sanskrit which has three different meanings. Two meanings are related to destruction, like you are destroying something. So Shad could mean the destruction of ignorance. Shad could mean the destruction of all your vasanas, all your chittavrittis. Shad means the destruction of the ties of bandhana, the bondage, all the ties of bondage that you feel, the ties of karma that you feel, okay, that you have in your life. So destroying all that you are not, all that is not needed, okay, and so that the real you comes out. So Shad means these things, destruction of these things. Shad also means the motion, something that is moving. So what is moving? The journey of an Atma, journey of the real you. Journey is a motion, different events and things taking place at a particular time and space, right? So journey means, motion means journey. And what else is in motion? Everything that is taking you closer, as if an Atma is going towards that Supreme Being. Atma means the real you, okay? So the real you is progressing towards the Supreme Being. So that is what Upanishads are for. So Upanishads are definitely and conclusive about taking an Atma on the journey towards closer to Paramatma or Brahma or Supreme Being. Okay, so that is the meaning of Upanishad. Now, Upanishads are very, very important texts to understand for serious spiritual seekers. And anybody who is seeking should read Upanishads, I would say. There was even since ancient times actually, when Alexander was coming to India, Aristotle asked him that in India there is something called as wisdom text, and they are called as Upanishad. How about you get me some from there? Exactly in the same way, Mahatma Gandhi once said that, if all the spiritual texts are destroyed somehow from India, but Upanishads are saved, then that means we have saved our wisdom. We have saved our cultural wisdom, and especially the wisdom about the real journey of an Atma towards moksha. So we have saved that. And even if all the Upanishads are destroyed, but just this one Upanishad, Ishopanishad, is saved, then also we have saved everything. Then also we can pursue our journey, spiritual journey, and attain moksha, the ultimate liberation. And then he said, even if the entire Isha Upanishad is destroyed, but just the first sutra, first mantra is saved somehow, then we have saved everything. So you see how important Upanishads are. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. And out of all those Upanishads, how important the Isha Upanishad is. That is why it is also considered as the first Upanishad. Okay. Now, all the other Upanishads, mostly Upanishads comes from Vedas. So they are not the independent text or scriptures, you can say. For example, Bhagavad Gita or Uddhav Gita. So Bhagavad Gita, Uddhav Gita, Vidur Niti, all these are parts of Mahabharata. So Mahabharata is the main scripture, main text. And out of Mahabharata, we have Bhagavad Gita, Uddhav Gita, Pranayama Gita, Bhavar Gita, and Vidur Niti, and so many other texts. Exactly in the same way, we have 4 Vedas, right? So all those Vedas, from those Vedas comes the Upanishads. Now, Isha Upanishad especially contains everything about just from the Vedas. But many other Upanishads have the content from not just from Vedas, but from Brahman Granth and from the Aranyakas. So many other texts are involved in writing Upanishad. And then later came a time when whosoever wrote a really important spiritual scripture or a text, they called it Upanishad. So you may see so many different types of Upanishads existing, and by calling it an Upanishad, they only meant that yes, it's a very important text or a helpful and useful text for spiritual seekers. So call it Upanishad. But 108, which comes out of Vedas and Brahman Granths and Aranyakas, they are considered as main Upanishads. Earlier there were thousands of Upanishads. 108 we have so far, and 11 of them are considered as the real important ones. And out of those 11, this Isha Upanishad is the first one to study for spiritual seekers. Now, this is something about Upanishads in general, right? Now, let's talk about Isha. Isha means, we'll go into a very, very great detail of the term Isha. But Isha plus Upanishad, that is what makes the name Ishopanishad. So Isha, A plus Upanishad, U. A and U becomes O. Okay? That's what happens in Aum, Om, right? So exactly in the same way, that is why it is called as Ishopanishad. Isha plus Upanishad. Upanishad about Isha. Isha is Brahma Paramatma or Supreme Being, you can say. Now, Ishopanishad, because it is also called as Vajrasane Upanishad. Why? There used to be a sage or a rishi or a spiritual samadhi guru. His name was Vajrasane. And there was another spiritual samadhi guru whose name was Yagyavalakya. He went to Vajrasane to study Yajurveda. There are 4 Vedas, right? Rig Veda, Atharva Veda, Yajurveda is one of them. So these Vedas, and he went to study Yajurveda. So when Yagyavalkya was called as, people started knowing him by the name as Vajrasaneyi, somebody who belongs to that guru, Vajrasaneyi. So they started calling him Vajrasaneyi. So when he wrote the entire commentary on Yajurveda, its 40th chapter became Ishopanishad. Okay, 40th chapter of the Yajurveda explanation that was done by, originally named Yagyavalkya, but most famously known as Vajrasaneyi. So when he did that, its 40th chapter became Ishopanishad. Now Ishopanishad only contains the mantra, complete full mantras of the Veda, Yajurveda. Okay, so that is the reason it is also called as Mantropanishad, an Upanishad about mantra, the most important mantras, right? So it is also called as Mantropanishad because it contains the exactly same mantras. The mantras has been taken completely, fully from the Veda. So that is why it is called as Mantropanishad. Now let's see if somebody is trying to understand which branch of Yajurveda it pertains to, then you can say Kanva branch, Kanva Shakha of Yajurveda is what it pertains to. So this is some pretext about understanding and reading the Ishopanishad, and this is some basic concepts around what is Upanishad, why one should read it, and once it is said that you can go on removing all your vasanas, chittavrittis, sanskaras, you can remove everything, but the last seed of ignorance, spiritual ignorance, avidya that we call, so last seed of it is only removed by knowing that supreme being, by knowing Brahma or Paramatma directly. Knowing doesn't mean reading about him or anything. Knowing him through samadhis, knowing him through different levels of samadhis. That is what they are saying. So ultimate ignorance, the last piece, the last remaining thread, the last remaining seed, whatever part of the seed it is removed only by knowing Brahma or Paramatma or Supreme Being. That is why knowing him is the most important thing, because you can only go so far through your own efforts. You can remove your vrittis, sanskaras, this and that, and you can go on walking your spiritual journey, but the removal of the last seed, the last strain of avidya, ignorance, spiritual ignorance, requires knowing that Supreme Being. Without knowing him directly, that last thread, last seed is not removed. And then samadhi is not completed. So in order to complete the nirvikalpa samadhi, the samadhi, or you can say complete the process of enlightenment, complete the process of self-realization and be able to attain moksha, requires knowing Supreme Being. So we will go on studying Ishopanishad through further sessions. Until then, if you would like to buy a book or start reading it somewhere, then please do so. And whenever we'll have question answer sessions also in between, or I will see if I can organize a call where we all can gather, those who have questions, and they can ask their questions about Ishopanishad. Okay? Alright. Namaste. Jai Shivaya.